Coming up on this edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, we'll talk about the evolution of Stacey Becton and Jacob Bunyasit's game, and we'll look forward to the game against Holy Cross, wrapping up the regular season. It all starts right now. And welcome into AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. And Coach, coming off the game against Lehigh, after the game, you pointed out that it was the first game all season where you really felt like the guys came out with much energy, maybe a little bit lethargic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long season. You know, it's a long season. You're playing a really good team. And I think we've played well for long stretches of time for, you know, a bunch of games leading up to this. So, you know, I think at some point you're just not going to play well. You're just simply not going to have it, especially during the week. You know, last night was not a great time for that to happen, but it does happen. So I don't think it's a lack of, effort and everything from our guys. It's just, we just didn't play well out of, one out of however many, eight of our last games.
You look at the physical side is where everyone goes with that. Do you think any of it is just because so many of these games are so close? Is it also emotionally draining, mentally draining to be involved in games that are that close where every shot means so much throughout the season? I mean, that's got to take its toll itself. So it's not just physical, but also on the mental side.
Yeah, I mean, it just takes a ton of, energy, mental and physical, just to be in the game over and over and over to play at a high level, especially when a team like Lehigh, any sort of slight mistake, you close out just a couple inches short, and guys like Tejada, Lefroy, I mean, these guys bang shots. And that's what happened. That's what happened. So they make you pay. So you just have to be at your complete best, almost every single possession. That's how every game's been. That's how all the league games have been. So we just got to, learn from that and be ready for Holy Cross.
Is that one of the teams that you really look at here down the stretch, that whoever's going to be facing Lehigh moving forward in the postseason is really going to be in trouble because they seem to be clicking on all cylinders right now?
Well, I mean, they're playing well. They're a really good team. But to be honest, we're just focused on what we have to do. Just play well at Holy Cross. I mean, that's our complete focus. So. I'm not thinking about all the scenarios in the league. It's what I'm thinking about AU and our team.
Stacey Becton, after the game, I was walking back to the press conference and a fan says, he just missed getting another double-digit scoring performance. He had 7 in a row and 11 of 12 going into the game against Lehigh. But you look at the stat sheet. I mean, he filled it up. He had, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks, a couple steals. And I know throughout the year you've said one of the things that you really wanted him to look at and focus on was getting better at defense. How have you seen his game grow in that regard?
Yeah, he's just way more active, way more involved in plays. I mean, he was going after tons of, maybe not rebounds, but loose balls that were sort of bouncing around. He was sort of grabbing them and going. So, he's a really good player. He's got good instincts for the game. So we need him to continue to be even more aggressive than as well as he's been playing. I think, I still think there's a lot more in there. So we got to continue to encourage him to be as aggressive as possible.
Freshman Jacob Bunyasit had 17 points in the game against Lehigh. I think it was 15, 16 of those came in the second half. He banged 5 threes. And where do you see him at this point in his evolution? Because the last few games, he's really seemed to come on, get comfortable, especially in the game against Lehigh late.
Right, yeah. Well, he can put the ball in the basket. He can make shots. He can get shots off. The biggest thing with him is just defending. Being able to defend other really good players in our league, and then sort of understanding, what's a good shot, what's a bad shot, when is he open? He really doesn't realize that. So it's a good ability to have, to be able to make a shot when you're not open. But in order to sort of, become a good player, you got to sort of recognize those, those things. And he will. He works hard. He's you know, he listens, he's coachable, he has good instincts for the game too. So it's just a matter of time of him getting comfortable sort of playing at this level. And then once he does, I can see him really exploding.
Does he get better by looking at video? Does he get better by working on specific and certain things in practice? Is it game teaching moments when you guys may pull him aside, either you or one of the assistants, and point things out within the game, or is it kind of a combination of all of those?
Yeah, I mean, it's all the above. You know, you try to, at this point in the season, you know, there's sort of, you know, everyone's worn down, so you're just trying to, you know, sort of focus them on maybe a few things that they should be thinking about. But yeah, I mean, you're just trying to, you know, you don't know when it's going to click for certain guys. But he's getting there, you know, he's getting there. And again, you know, most of it is experience. You know, it's like you can do all the film and, you know, go over stuff in practice. But it's game experience is where you sort of, you know, sort of get your comfort level down. And he's certainly getting there. So.
Time for our first time out here on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. We'll be back with more right after this.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
And welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. Patriot League tournament time is almost here. It's fast approaching, and on the men's side, still a lot to play for, still a lot of questions, still a lot of scenarios that are going to unfold across the last regular season game. We'll talk to Coach about that in just a moment. As for the women's basketball team, they have clinched a top 2 seed in the Patriot League tournament and have clinched a home game in the quarterfinals, which will be Monday, March 11th. And that game will be played here at Bender Arena. You can get your tickets by logging on to aueagles.com. You can also call 202-885-TIX, 202-885-TIXX. And the opponent still to be determined for the women. And to keep up with everything as it unfolds here over the next few days or week or so, be sure and check out aueagles.com and, of course, all the social media platforms. We'll be back with Coach right after this on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. And, Coach, you hit on it at the top of the show about discussing kind of the scenarios and everything as it unfolds here in the last regular season game. Do you specifically go to the guys and say, all right, look, I know you can go online. I know you can read all these different scenarios. Everyone has their own take on tiebreakers and what could happen if this happens and that happens. I mean, there's a bajillion different scenarios right now in the Patriot League as it falls. Do you specifically say to them, stay away from that? let's just focus on the task at hand, which is the Crusaders?
Well, I tell them to focus on the task at hand. We try to focus them and emphasize the things that I think are important. I don't even mention the scenario. They're all smarter than me anyway, so I'm sure they know it better than I do. But none of it matters unless our single focus is Holy Cross. There's so much to play for, and for Holy Cross as well. So that's all we should be thinking about and all we're going to be talking about and thinking about.
What are some of the things that are important to you? Say that's what you're going to really focus them in on these last couple practice days and the last game. What are a couple of those things?
Well, Holy Cross, they play a 1-3-1 and they play a matchup, which is a few other teams in our league do it. So we have some experience with it, but it's definitely different. You definitely have to get out of a man-to-man, offense mindset and start to emphasize the things that you think could potentially work and get you good shots against the zone. And then, just dealing with their team. They're a very good team. Floyd's one of the best players in the league. And they got shooters that take care of the ball, they move it, they play well together. So it's going to be a real difficult game.
You mentioned Jahive Floyd. He's third in the country in field goal percentage, shooting 68%. That's incredible. He also leads the team in assists, set the school record in blocks. He's a real handful.
Yeah, he's an amazing player because he does so much for them. Sort of at that point post position. He shoots really well. He takes the shots that he's supposed to take. He's gotten to become such a really, really good passer. So you just got to be aware off the ball. And then what he does defensively, he's not only blocking his own guy's shots, he's blocking shots off a help defense. So it's just his activity level on both ends of the court that really pops out at you. So we have our hands full with him.
You look at Holy Cross, they're one of the best teams in the country when it comes to assist to turnover ratio. They take care of the ball. Here at Bender, you beat them earlier this season by 17 points. That's your largest margin of victory in a win in Patriot League play this year. Yeah,
we played really well that night, and I thought that they, it was a road game for them, during the week, and I thought they missed shots that they normally make, and even Floyd, missed a few early on, I think, which helped us. So again, you got to play well, you got to make shots, and you got to hope, you got to defend as best you can, but you got to, hope for a little luck where the other team doesn't make shots that they normally make as well.
Well, best of luck up there in Worcester, Mass. against the Crusaders.
All right, thanks, Dan.
All right, that's Coach Brennan, and that'll do it for this edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. To keep up with all the latest on the Eagles, log on to aueagles.com and check out all the social media platforms. For Coach, I'm Dan. We'll see you next time.